So you wrote a book called What We Keep, which I think is beautiful. First of all, the
Thank you.
sensibilities. That's why I played happy, because you go through it and you smile because people are sharing one item that touched or moved or changed their lives, and it gives you a chance to pause and be introspective, which I think a lot of us, while we're alone or we're self quarantined, we're not doing a lot of thoughtfulness. So tell me about the impetus for this book.
So for the book, my co-author Naomi Wax and I traveled around the country and spoke with hundreds of people about the single object in their life that sort of brings them the most emotional significance, the most resonance. And we talked to people, like Melinda Gates and Ta-Nehisi Coates and Mark Cuban, and then we also talked to butchers and bakers and barbers. But I think you're right. I think, now is a time when they're home, they're looking around their environment, and yet they're looking to escape too. And, most people that we interviewed had one of these objects on a shelf or in a drawer. And what I've been hearing from people in the last couple months is that they've sort of rediscovered some of these things, because everybody's like cleaning their house like crazy, right? That's their big project: clean out the house, get rid of the stuff. And they're coming across these things that stand for something in their lives, and taking a moment to reflect on that.
But why did you want to do this book? Why
Right,
do
that was
you
your
want to
question,
do
wasn't
this?
it? Which I
Yeah, it was. It's all
completely
right. I
forgot.
won't. I won't forget.
Yeah, it's those complicated questions. So there was a lot of things that went into this book. One of them, honestly, was because I do work with photographs. I started to see a lot of photographs a few years back of the Syrian refugees heading for the Turkish border as their homes were being bombed. And most of them would have a large family and a single bag. And I started to wonder what was in that bag, some food, maybe some clothes. But did they take a single object that would connect them back to the home that they might never see again? So it was that. It was also, Hurricane Superstorm Sandy that came through many places, but here in my neck of the woods in New York. And, we saw people lose everything. But ultimately, when my co-author and I, we were at a junk shop in upstate New York, and we found this little locket that said, it was dated 1911, and it said, "My love forever." And we just started thinking, how did something that was so meaningful to somebody 100 years ago, how did that end up at the end of a driveway, for sale to strangers? And we started to think about how the story of an object really determines its value.
What's your object, Bill Shapiro? What do you have in your possession that has the greatest meaning?
Well, what I mentioned in the book, first I want to preface by saying that of all the people that we spoke with, nobody's object was worth anything monetarily. It was that had nothing to do with it. We treasure the meaningful, not the monetary. And mine is a case in point. It's two pieces of taped notebook paper with my terrible handwriting in it, in German, a language I do not speak, that says "Irgendwo," which means anywhere. And it was a hitchhiking sign that my old friend Fred and I used back in the 80s before the Berlin Wall came down, when we were hitchhiking through Germany. And we didn't care where we were going. We were young, and it was just like, let's just go anywhere. Take us to an adventure. And I keep that because now, as a middle-aged person, mired with insurance payments and mortgage payments and all the other junk, like I kind of hold that off as my North Star. Like, can I get back to the anywhere frame of mind?
Sina, do you have an object? 866-801-8255. I'm going to put out the number too, because I'm curious what folk
I'm
have.
still reeling that Bill was hitchhiking in pre-Berlin Wall Germany. What? Oh my God, that is very intense. I can't imagine. I'm surprised you didn't get eaten alive. Did your friend get eaten when you went hitchhiking?
Eaten by what?
Weird as
He spoke a little
people.
German. We were in
hitchhike.
It was good. It was
Cannibals out there looking for a lunch.
No, back in the day, we used to be able to play in the street until the lights came on. I was 9. I had a key to my house. I could walk home and not worry about a stranger in a white van snatching me. These were the good old days. Back in the good old days, right, Bill? You wouldn't know about those. You're a millennial. You're a millennial, Cena. That you never lived through those times.
But I don't really know if I have an object. I think I really had to think about that, because while you're talking about it, my wife and I do go through and we're like, let's get rid of this stuff. We got to have fewer things here. I think about a book right off the top of my head that my brother signed that he gave me when I was younger, Zen of the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. That's been special to me, but I don't know. That's tough. I'd have to really think about that. Karen, what about you?
All right. I don't. It's probably a picture of my grandfather from when he was in the war, and it's really cool because he's got a cigarette, in his mouth, and he looks like James. He looks like a black James Dean. It just is an amazing picture that I keep. Okay, so what we keep is literally the name of the book. What was the most fascinating item of someone in the book that you were like, what the hell, or crazy?
Well, it wasn't that the item was so crazy. It was always the story behind it. So, for example, there was a bottle opener, $1.99 regular plain Jane bottle opener that was given to a grandson, now grown, who I spoke with, by his grandmother, who was an accountant in the 60s and 70s by day, hair in a bun, dressed conservatively, but was California's biggest pot dealer by night. And the bottle opener holds the story of what she did, which was, in his view, to help sick people feel better. And it changed the whole course of his life. And he worked in a cardio unit, and now he helps underprivileged kids and whatnot. So that's the sort of surprising stories that are in these everyday mundane objects.
And there are 150 of them. So what we keep, 150 people share this one object with Bill Shapiro and his co-author. What's her name? I just want to not...
Naomi Wax.
Naomi Wax. Shout out to you, Naomi Wax. Listen, Bill, I'd love to have you back on. Let's not be strangers. You're an amazing human being, and I'm grateful that you came through today.
Thank you. That's so nice. It was great to be here with both of you.
Thanks,
Bill Shapiro. Yes, at Bill_Shapiro. The book is What We Keep.